Hi, I'm Bryan Rios from Wahl+Case, and I'm joined today by
Nano Aramaki from TAMLO.
And today we're going to be talking to you about
5 key differences in B2B marketing strategies
between the West and Japan. So Nanako, the number one difference that everyone needs to be aware of when marketing in Japan is
that people use Yahoo in Japan. Yahoo Japan is separate from Yahoo, which has different owners. But obviously Yahoo has localized very well for the Japanese market. And during the pandemic, it was the number one website or digital platform in Japan, beating Google, which might come to many as a surprise. So if you want to reach a lot of users, Yahoo Japan is a really good option if you want to run ads, especially display ads, the ones that show up on, within the apps and on other partner websites in the inventory that they have, which is separate from Google's inventory. And also, Yahoo Japan users tend to be decision makers in Japanese companies. They're a little bit older, and they still use Yahoo Japan as the home page on their browser. So PPC search ads on Yahoo Japan is good if you want to target those decision makers in Japan.
So what is number 2?
LinkedIn is not widely used or known. There are about 3 million users in Japan, which is very few considering the entire population of Japan. And it hasn't picked up as it has in other countries. But there are other platforms where you can reach people in Japan for B2B marketing, like Facebook. In Japan, people only create real profiles, right, on Facebook. So they'll only add people that they've met in real life. So that's a key difference I've noticed since coming over here, is that once you've met someone, they'll send you a friend request.
When I first came here and was working as a consultant, that was one of the first things I did, was actually make a specific work Facebook profile, because I was told that was the best way to network in Japan.
So most people, they might even send you Facebook Messenger messages for business-related things. So I deal with a couple of our freelancers on Facebook Messenger, which I never would have done in Europe or in North America.
So let's move on to number 3.
Website UI and UX. Brian, I don't know if you've clicked on an ad in Japan.
I've been to Rakuten.
That explains it all already. Yeah. It's a lot of information.
Yes.
But it's really important to understand that Japanese people have different needs online. They have very different online consumer behavior as well. And they're very information driven. So you need to get that information to the user, and the best way possible would be to have a really long landing page, which is never ending. And I click on a lot of Instagram ads, and because they know what I like. I'll probably scroll for minutes because they'll keep on telling me all the top 5 reasons, this is the best. Here are our testimonials, and it's just the longest landing page, and there are several CTAs on the page. But that's what you need to convince a Japanese user on the internet to make that purchase. So compare that landing page to maybe your landing page, which is sleek, really well designed, very simple and minimalistic, but lacks the information the Japanese user needs to make that final decision. So I think website content, UX, UI is a very big difference in Japan, especially for B2B. In Japan, if you're looking for a B2B service or product, you're probably going to look for documents to download so you can collect all of the candidate company's documents to present to your manager. And that happens before anyone contacts any company. And so what you want to do is have your company guide downloadable on your website. I'd say that's the biggest UI difference.
That's great. That's super interesting and not something I had really considered, because if you're generally the person that you're targeting with your B2B marketing, they may be a decision maker, but the way decisions are made in Japan are very much group decisions. And so they're going to have to present to a large panel of their higher ups or other decision makers within the company. And so being able to have something that they can literally show the other decision makers is really vital.
And that's why companies that have a lot of white papers, blog articles, anything that provides as much information as possible about your business is probably going to have a higher chance of getting that final contact or call to sign a contract with you. So that's a great segue into number 4, which is campaign goals. In Japan, for B2B companies, if you're running a campaign, ad campaign, promotion campaign, your goal in Japan should not be to have contacts or requests for quotation or a demo request, because that hurdle is too high for a Japanese person who's just visited your website. So what you want to change it to is maybe it's a 10-second stay on your homepage. That could be a micro conversion. And then maybe it's that they've downloaded your company documents or a white paper. And then you soft sell from there.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to bring up, because I don't know, I don't have any experience working in other markets for B2B sales, but I know in Japan, the B2B sales cycle is very long. It takes a long time. Like the way that Jim Weiser, who was on our channel before, talked about it, he's like,
right, 3 months is what's acceptable inside of the Silicon Valley approach, or even really a US corporate approach, typically. Where in Japan, time moves geologically. People report half years and years historically. The general expression is ishi no ue sannen. So until you've sat on the stone for 3 years, you don't know if it's hard or not, or it's the right stone for you.
So you have to be mindful of how slow those sales cycles can move. And so those micro conversions, as you called them, I think is a really good way to kind of measure that people are getting to the level that you need them to be.
Yeah, some companies find it really hard to measure their success with their efforts in Japan, just because those conversion points are so different from other countries. So my tip for you is to be patient. If you have enough information on your website, they will come to you.
Okay, last one. What's number 5?
Number 5 is maybe the most important one, and it's culture. Huge difference in culture, right, Brian?
Yes.
For our Japanese clients, it's really important to go visit them in person once in a while, whereas with global clients,
video calls
are fine. Yeah. And just the customs are different too, right? Like B2B, you need to bring gifts when you meet people. The whole art of business card, meishi exchanges with the business cards. And there's so many other differences culturally, and we'll talk more about that in an upcoming video.
We'll see you there.